Welcome to Season 3 of the Local Whidbey Podcast. It's hard to believe that I have already interviewed 40 interesting Whidbey Island locals. This season, I am reimagining the podcast just a bit. A few months ago, a listener told me that this podcast was the NPR of Whidbey Island. I don't know about that, but I do consider it a compliment. That got me thinking. Whidbey is one of those rare places where people reinvent themselves quietly. The island attracts people who have lived multiple lives before arriving here. Artists, founders, musicians, military, healers, farmers, escapees from corporate America, writers, craftspeople, and eccentrics. As I was thinking about this instead of interesting people on Whidbey Island, I want to think more about what kinds of transformations happen on Whidbey Island. I'm going to start with Saltwater Life as the first segment of Season 3. Over the course of this category, we'll be chatting with 4 locals who have devoted their lives to the sea. Each of them chose Whidbey Island as the place to anchor their work and their stories. What draws people to this specific stretch of water? It's a place where the tides dictate the rhythm of the day, where the community is bound by the harvest of the bay, and where the line between livelihood and legacy often blurs. These aren't just stories about fishing or boating, they're about the choices people make to live in harmony with the ocean and why this island became the only place they could call home. I know you'll enjoy the first series, Saltwater Lives. Some people look at the ocean and see a frontier, others see a home. For Dr. Florian Graner, the waters around Whidbey Island are both a laboratory and a canvas. He is a scientist, a conservationist, and an award-winning filmmaker who has taken the hidden world beneath the waves and brought it to the screens across the globe. From his work with Disney and Netflix to his latest acclaimed film, Orcas, Life in Black and White, Florian uses light and motion to tell stories that demand we pay attention. Today we explore how he balances the rigors of science with the art of cinema and why he believes that seeing is the first step toward saving our coastal environment. I know you will enjoy my chat with the Executive Director of Sound Water Stewards of Whidbey Island, Dr. Florian Graner. Hi, Florian. Thank you for agreeing to be interviewed and tell your story. I'm so excited about talking to you today. And listener, we are sitting at the lighthouse at Fort Casey State Park, and it's a beautiful day. And we decided to sit outside and do this. And so you might hear all kinds of things. You might hear airplanes, which you guys are all used to that. So we'll just get started. This is Florian Graner, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Very good to meet you, Maxie.
Yes, you too. All right. So you wear many hats. You're a scientist, correct? Executive director and a filmmaker. How did you decide to merge the precision of science with the creativity of cinematography?
Well, I really started on a science track. So marine biologist, and really realized early on that I wanted to study whales and dolphins. That was a childhood dream that I converted into truth. And I realized early on, in order to do the field work and capture all the behaviors that I was seeing, I needed to be good with cinematography. So I wore that hat really early on. And it kind of put me out there on a platter to be picked up by natural history filmmakers who, you would go to conferences, present your findings, your science. And with that, I'd always make an introduction, what was the environment? Why are they doing what they're doing? And I'd rope that in with cinematography. So I presented my findings using cinematography as well. And I got a tap on the shoulder pretty quickly by the BBC at the time saying, well, we're filming for Blue Planet and great science you have there, but we're really interested in your introduction, those deep water sharks you put in there, because I was showing that they were feeding in a deep water environment, which is why they might be behaving different. And if I say they might be, it's harbor porpoises that I was studying. And a lot of the studies were done in shallow water environments, Bay of Fundy, North and Baltic Seas. And I'd done it in a Norwegian fjord that is over 3,000 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
So to demonstrate that, I showed, these vertical fjord walls disappearing into the abyss, black water, and, having the likes of redfish and deep water sharks pop up. And that captivated their attention, and that got me on to Blue Planet, and they liked what I filmed for them there, so they kept me on for the 4.5 years of filming
Wow. Yeah.
for that series. That was my first merger of
Right.
science with the really high-end natural history production world.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about your new film, Orcas, Life in Black and White. It's received international acclaim and a silver medal at the New York festivals. What does that mean, a silver medal? Is that like gold, silver, or
It's
bronze?
gold, silver, bronze. So there was one other show that was topping me, actually a good colleague of mine. We filmed together. And interestingly, we even filmed together in the Arctic, filming orcas. And
Okay.
some of those orcas are even in the film. So we actually crossed over multiple ways that way. Wonderful filmmaker, Jan Haft. And so the silver medal, yeah, and it's been a fantastic project. Orcas, I've always wanted to make a film about orcas. For me, it's kind of like a crown jewel
Yeah.
to be able to do that together, maybe with Hawaii, which
Yeah.
was also absolutely fantastic to make.
Right.
But orcas have always fascinated me, even when I started studying harbor porpoises, because that was funding I was able to open up for my PhD. I went to Arctic Norway to see and film and observe orcas.
Okay.
What's so fascinating about them? They are the top of the food chain
Yes, they are.
of the oceans. And there's, when you see them, you know instantly, there's no question about it. They are kind of, if you like, our counterparts in the water.
Mhm.
And what's really fascinating to me is that we think there's about 50,000 of them worldwide. And we have a pretty good hunch because we photo ID them.
Right.
So we actually know
Mhm.
the individuals, the personalities even, and you learn them as you film them. They all have personalities, or whale-nalities, as
Well-nalities.
Ken Balcom put it. Good friend of mine, unfortunately, he has passed away. The grandfather of photo ID work
Okay.
here in Puget Sound.
Oh, cool.
Center for Whale Research. He founded that and did the first studies on the orcas here, identifying individuals and basically proving to the government that we didn't have hundreds of them, but there were just about 72 at the time southern resident killer whales left.
So you're in Hawaii filming. What was the most challenging part of capturing the orca story, or the story you're trying to tell?
Right. So orcas we didn't film in Hawaii, but
Oh, I thought you.
many other Hawaii, that was another film
I never
project.
film. Okay.
Right. But filming orcas here and worldwide. So
Okay.
for me, it was important to capture that orcas, there's only about 50,000 of them, but they live worldwide. They
Right.
are found across all major oceans and even into the smaller seas. So they basically inhabit about 70% of the surface of the planet. And there's
Mhm.
just 50,000 of them. If you compare that to our human populations and what we inhabit, they take a lot of space and
Yeah.
they move in huge spaces. They really move as individuals over huge expanses of ocean.
So how do you know when they die?
How do you know when they die? Well, sometimes we do find a carcass, but mostly we don't. So
Mhm.
the only way you know they die is they don't turn up anymore. So
Oh,
you know they're family groups. They're
yes.
deeply organized in family groups.
Yes.
They are matriarchal
Mhm.
societies. So it's really the oldest mature females that lead the groups, even though
Mhm.
the males are much bigger. Killer whale males follow their moms for life.
Okay.
So they're kind of mama's boys,
Yeah.
and they help rear the offspring of their mothers, their sisters,
Right.
their nieces.
Yeah.
So that's how killer whale society is organized, and they meet in larger groups, family relations, so
Right.
they can make these super pods. Our southern resident killer whales, who are salmon eaters, it's a we call that an ecoculture because it's a choice of eating that particular food. And with killer whales, like with humans, it's really a choice. It's
Right.
an active mental choice they make. And it forms a culture around there.
Right.
How they hunt, how they share, it's all a culture. And that's how they evolve much faster than other beings. But much like humans, we form cultures and we can develop really, really quickly and resemble something that looks very different from the original form of who we are. You can see that in all the variety of cultures that humans have across the globe. We have that with killer whales too. So around here, Puget Sound, we have 3 different ecocultures. Actually, we have the salmon eaters, the southern resident killer whales. We have strictly mammal eaters that eat anything from sea otters to seals to sea lions to the largest whales.
People.
They'll don't eat people. I feel completely safe being in the water with them.
The reason I said that is because we did a 3-day kayaking trip around Cypress and Island, and that's the only thing I was nervous about. I said, my husband goes, it'll be really cool if an orca just swims up beside us. I go, I don't know, because they are at the top of the food chain. I don't know about that. And then I've seen them in Penn Cove as well. And I don't know what I would do or how I'd feel if they came up next to my kayak.
It can get spooky. And it's, I've had orcas that came right up toward the boat and you thought they'd gonna go right through it, basically crash. And they'll just flip sideways. Huge male dorsal fin would just flip and kind of skid under the boat and pop right back up on the other side. So they clearly test us, how we react, how we respond.
Okay.
They do that underwater too, but really rarely.
Okay.
And there's never been a report in the wild of orcas ever taking on people.
Yeah.
Can't tell you why, but I always have a really safe feeling with them. But, naturally we should
maybe we have too many bones.
We should treat them with respect for sure.
Totally.
Be sensible what you do around an animal like that. Yeah, like you should be sensible around a bear or any large land predator. You want to be careful there too. Right. Same with orcas. Don't be normal. Be yourself and don't try and pet.
Right.
I would never recommend doing that. I mean, keep a distance. Watch them with respect that they deserve. And, sometimes, especially when you put yourself into the underwater environment, the tricky thing there is it's not like you can show up with a long telephoto lens because you wouldn't see anything. Right. The visibility is limited underwater, which makes it for a completely different type of cinematography. You actually have to know the subjects that you want to film, and you have to be able to gauge their behavior, and you have to be able to be interacting with them because that's the only way you're going to get them in front of your lens.
Yeah. So you're not going to take direction from the director.
You cannot. The director is actually the animal you're trying to film.
That's exactly right.
They call the shots, and you have to present yourself in a way where you either invisible to them, where they don't care you around, or you actually attract them. And that's the case in the killer whale, because then normally you can never follow. Swim after a killer whale. They move really fast. They have their own things that they do, and it's basically a society in motion.
Right.
And they don't have the time of day for you to hang around you and so that you can get your pictures in. So really, it's often just a curiosity that draws one in to actually look at you for a brief moment. I've had it very rarely that they would actually circle around you and start really looking at you, clicking you, sounding you, because they also see the sound. They actually echolocate. So they actually know the inside of you. They know your blood pressure. It's that precise.
Really?
They can gauge your emotions.
They can tell
with
if you're
all
scared.
Of that. They can tell if you happen to be a female, if you're pregnant, or what you've eaten. They can tell all of those things.
Wow, I did not know that.
So they basically, have the perfect X-ray of you in motion.
Wow.
And that's something to behold. I mean, it's like they have a very different impression of you than that we can have of each other.
So talking about productions, so you've done big scale productions for Netflix and Disney. How does large scale productions compare to conservation focused films?
That's a really good question. So for me, it was always being able to keep footage rights. Often with the likes of Netflix and other large production houses, you don't get to do that. But often I've been able, because I came with footage already, I've been able to carve out some sort of agreement, not with everybody, where I maybe take a dip on my paycheck, but I retain footage rights. And with that, I could actually make educational and conservation films. So that was always my way of giving back. I feel like so privileged that I get to go to all of these places around the world and see these amazing creatures out there, capture those amazing images. They shouldn't just be in a Netflix box or another box. They should be available for educational materials as well. So I try to make the most of what I capture and actually be able to give back.
Okay. So I want to talk about octopus because that is something I've actually seen. And doing my research, I had no idea that you might have to help me pronounce this, that they are cephalopods?
Cephalopods.
Cephalopods.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Cephalopods, listener, cephalopods. So great film. So what did you learn from the octopus?
So what you learn from them is, first of all, you're stunned by their short lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
So a giant Pacific octopus, the largest of them all, basically lives between 3 to 5 years of age, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is long for a cephalopod. Some of those even big ones, like Humboldt squid, they get up to like 3 years old, and that's it.
Yeah.
So their life is like a boom and bust.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about this is that despite of that, they have these really large, complex brains, so like 5 hemispheres, and because they're 8 armed.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be all 10 armed, and so 1 hemisphere for 2 arms, which makes that 5 hemispheres in the brains. And they are so intelligent and capable of actually forming connections. And when you see them underwater, I filmed great things right off here of the Keystone Jetty, right down there. I remember a dive a couple of years ago where there were 5 of them having dens. Mm-hmm. And each one of them different. So they are they have a personality for sure. Mm-hmm. Some of them are shy and you'll never really get to see them properly. They wall it up. They sit deep in the den, and when they see lights come and a big thing come, they just wall it right off. Okay. Take some rocks and hold it tight on the other end, and you don't see them. Others are much more inquisitive, and some of them are really interactive, and they can recognize you really quickly. They recognize you again. You come, bring them a crab, and they snatch it, and they remember instantly. So they have really good memory. They've done this with experiments in marine parks where they would actually hide people in the same garment. They would all be like wearing black and dressed up, and so you can't see their faces. And they, just by how they move, the octopus could be able to tell, I like this one, but I don't like this
that one.
That one mistreats me, that one doesn't.
Oh,
and so it's that refined. So it really is an exceptional intelligence. And yet, in their environment, they're actually pretty solitary. They don't often interact apart from the brief mating that they have.
Right.
But they actually live a pretty solitary life. And you wonder, with this boom and bust short lifespan and the solitary lifestyle, why are they so emotionally capable of forming connection, creating connection, memory power? You can really have a relationship with an octopus.
So do you have any guesses as to why they have such a short lifespan?
If you, again, it goes back to your realization that they're all cephalopods. Cephalopods share a common ancestry with snails and mussels and the likes.
Okay.
So if you think about that, and that doesn't even explain everything, because, for example, a gooey duck here in Puget Sound can be over 100 years old. And how does that compare to, it's just the evolutionary arm that they've taken is that this whole boom and bust lifestyle, that they grow really fast, reproduce really fast, and then just perish. So just this really quick turnover, and maybe it's made them so resilient because they've been around for hundreds of million years. They're a really, really old life form that's been around on the planet longer than most things, longer than fish. They've been here for almost 500 million years.
When you're talking, I'm having these different questions pop up. So when you said gooey duck, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a question about the gooey duck. What is a gooey duck's purpose? Years ago, I took my boys clamming in the Olympic Peninsula. We lived in Portland at the time, and we got a gooey duck.
Ah,
But I couldn't bring myself to cut that thing up. It was so repulsive to me. So my husband had to do it and chop it up and make clam chowder out of it. But I was like, what's the purpose of this thing?
right. Well,
He said to eat.
I'll give you a really good answer.
Okay.
It is one of the primary cleaning agents of Puget Sound.
Okay.
You
Is
know,
that it's the spitter?
They filter feed. They go through a lot of seawater. They like to sit in currents,
Mhm.
just like mussels do.
Mhm.
And just like mussels, they are the primary filtering organisms in Puget
I
Sound.
knew
So
you'd know.
they make this environment a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so
And I get what you're saying about their looks, especially when you pull them out of their environment, which they look different when
Yeah.
they're buried in the sand, and that
Yeah.
you understand what that long foot is for.
yeah.
When you see it, I always call it, and excuse my French, an elephant penis.
Yes, it
That's
is. It's very
kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't cut it up. Okay, so as the executive director of Sound Water Stewards, how do you translate the emotions you capture on camera into tangible action for the community?
So it's a really good question. For me, like I said, I've always liked this crossing the boundary into conversation. And while I was doing that and making educational films for all sorts of different groups around Puget Sound,
Okay.
I bumped into the Sound Water Stewards and I gave a keynote speech to them and was really captured by all the good work they did around our islands,
Yeah.
marine conservation at its best.
Mhm.
And I decided I could wear that hat for sure.
Yeah.
I want to promote this group and help them do what they do. And,
Yeah.
you know, they do so many things from education through stewardship, cleaning beaches, picking up monofilament. But they have also these great community science projects where they monitor the extent of eelgrass, so important habitats, near shore marine habitats that are important for salmon, they're important for forage fish, they're important for so many things.
Mhm.
Eelgrass meadows, bull kelp forests, all of these things, and they get it out there that people understand how important that is and that we need to be conscientious of it and treasure it because
Right.
it makes this environment around our islands and in Puget Sound, the Salish Sea, so rich. So that's
Yeah.
really what led me to do that.
So there's a big difference between filming for entertainment and then filming for advocacy.
Yes.
So how do you navigate that line without losing your audience?
So that's a really good question. I think you need
So NPR versus Netflix.
right. And the thing is you need captivating films. Just think about Blackfish, for
Mhm.
example. You need captivating films they can actually do a lot of good conservation work.
Okay.
So when you combine those two, you do the nitty-gritty. Sometimes you need to just make short films, promotional, but still, captivating the spirit. I always like to bring the critters in
Okay.
to keep people hooked, and I've
Right.
done this with school children,
Right.
Discover Our Island Shores. You should see that one,
Okay.
which is something that we have out there for our educational programs. It ties perfectly into grade 5-6, 4-5-6 curriculum.
Okay.
So the state biology curriculum gets picked up. And at the same time, you get to meet the inhabitants around our islands
Okay.
or off the Olympic coast. I've done it for various counties. The same package, but picking up the landmarks that are unique to each county and that students can identify with.
Mhm.
Because by and large, the same animals do actually show up.
Okay.
So, and I've been taken into the classroom by one of the teachers, and it was an amazing experience because she said, I want you to know what you do with these films. So I have a number of ADHD kids here,
Mhm.
and it's really hard to keep them focused for even 30 seconds a minute, never mind a
Mhm.
40-minute film.
Right.
And I want you to watch this and this and this and this kid. And, sure enough, they were just digging in in their stuff and not paying
Mhm.
attention to anything. The film started, and I could see that they started looking up and then fumbling with
Right.
the gadgets that they had and looking up, and all of a sudden the gaze was just on the screen,
great.
and they stayed with it for the entire 40 minutes.
Wow.
And then actually asked really good questions.
Oh.
And she said, this is what your films do.
Oh,
We need more of that.
that's great assurance. So let's talking about Whidbey Island. How does the marine ecosystem here differ from other places you filmed globally?
So one thing I will say where it doesn't differ is that when I film globally, I get shipped out. I'm going to say shipped out.
Mhm.
I get transported to some of the most serene environments that we have
Mhm.
on the planet. We don't have that around here, but what we have is an environment that is massively productive.
Okay.
And in recent years, we've actually taken better care of it. So what I can see in front of my door, even outside my home beach,
Mhm.
is world-class quality in terms of the critters that you see, the behaviors that you see.
So explain massively productive.
Massively productive, meaning that we have the privilege in living in an ecosystem that's one of the most productive in the world in
Okay.
terms of the biomass,
The biomass.
the sheer biomass it
Okay.
produces. And it has to do with coastal upwellings and all the rivers that bring
Mhm.
nutrients from the mountains and the forests to the Salish Sea, the forest sea,
Yeah.
as it once has been called. And it causes a huge boom in primary producers like phytoplankton, zooplankton,
Mhm.
and it attracts a massive food chain with that. It supports a huge food chain. So we have a food chain, and that's why we have all these whales here too, because there's enough for all of these whales to eat.
Mhm.
And it's one of the big success stories that we can actually show is that the Marine Mammal Protection Act and all this environmental protection that we've done has brought the food pyramid back so that we actually have a growing population of transient killer whales. Now we're back to
Yeah.
the killer whale ecocultures.
Yeah.
That's the one ecoculture that's actually showing up in more numbers with healthy calves. Even though with all their bioaccumulation of toxins that are still in the environment, they actually are the most polluted of them all. They get so much food that they never have to tap into their energy reserves.
Mhm.
So they actually persist, produce healthy calves, and thrive around here. That's what we've seen the last few years. So they actually they have replaced our resident killer whales, which are the salmon eaters.
Okay.
Transients have for a good 10 years now been the residents in
Mm.
this area.
Mm.
And the salmon eaters have the problem they're not getting enough salmon. So they're going through food shortages, and when they do, they tap into their energy reserves, and that comes with a big toxic load. So you have calves die, you have even mums die sometimes, and it often takes a mum that does survive 2, 3, 4 calves for the calf to survive finally as well.
Mm.
So they have that problem.
Imagine if Oak Harbor had a place where music, theater, and creativity could thrive all year round. The Oak Harbor Creative Arts Foundation is exploring something big, a performing arts center and makers space to expand arts access, support local artists and youth, and strengthen our community. Right now, they're in the feasibility phase, building awareness and community support before any fundraising begins. One of the easiest ways to help is to add your name to their petition of support. No money asked, just show you believe in. Imagine Oak Harbor for all of Whidbey Island. Visit the website today and add your name. Creative communities don't just happen, they're imagined first. Go to ohcaf.org to show you also. Imagine Oak Harbor.
So when you're filming in the Puget Sound and you have a global audience that are watching your films, is there a particular message you're trying to send out about this area, or is it just an informative?
So my message, yes, no, I always have messages,
Messages.
and they're always
Good.
important. But the message I have, what Puget Sound shows us in terms of the killer whales, these apex predators, is that, as humans, we shouldn't think it's all hopeless.
Right.
The whole, when you hear all these environmental messages, climate change, which is real, and I want to definitely say that to you. I see that when I travel, especially to Arctic
Yeah.
locations, it's so obvious.
Mm.
But what I want to say is that we can actually do things and that nature responds back really fast, whether it's taking some dams out in the Elva River and seeing the salmon come back so fast in such big numbers. All the different, even ocean-going trout, their populations have, I don't want to say exploded, but they've rebounded so fast. It's just amazing to see. And we've seen that too with these orcas. And it took 50 years, Marine Mammal Protection Act, and it took 50 years of taking care of our environments, managing fisheries better, so the forage fish came back, the whole food pyramid started to grow again. But what we see here right now, and we're going from one tea party to another. We call it tea party when these different family pods of transient killer whales meet and have a big gathering, and we see more and more of these. It's just a symbol of success of we've done things right. And I want to really bring that message forward that we can actually change things. And when we do, nature responds. And it's generally, you see that healing power that is all around us. And that's the message I really want to put out there.
I agree with you 100%. It's amazing how things can turn around so quickly. We do the right thing for sure. So I was thinking about how much patience it takes to film underwater. Have you ever had a situation where it took you days to get a shot?
Definitely. So, but it's not, I want to say it's not as dry of a job as it sometimes is for my colleagues who are land-based, who are basically hiding in a tent with long lenses to get this amazing behavior, and sometimes sit for weeks or months, and sometimes get it, sometimes not. Underwater, it's always that thing that I mentioned at the beginning. I have a very different relationship with what I film because I actually have to have a relationship. I can't just be this hidden thing and make myself invisible. It doesn't work with the visibilities that we have underwater. I actually have to be close. And that puts it all in a really different ball game. So mostly, yes, I have to be really patient. And for example, filming harbor seals, I have to behave. I have to let them discover me. And that means, equipped with my rebreather, so I don't make bubbles. I'm quiet, stealthy. So I don't scare them with the sounds I make, that you would have with open scuba. Most animals don't really like that. And then the bubbles that come with that. For marine mammals, producing bubbles is actually a threat. They would do that. Yes. So you're not exactly advertising yourself in the right way. But when you're quiet and silent and then don't move a lot, just let the animals see you. Generally, curiosity gets the best of them in the end. And then they discover you, they put the whiskers in your face, it's and they'll even tug on your fin. And once you've had that, okay, they're fine with you now. And all of a sudden you'll see their turn tail and they're completely happy with you looking over their shoulder. And that's when you get these really captivating images. When I did Discover Our Island Shores, that's our educational film, I basically have a seal tell the story. I used my daughters for the narration to match the age group. But it's the seal that's in your face, telling the story of what its own environment is underwater. So different perspective, and it captivates the audience, the children in that case. That's exactly what did the trick there, I think.
You think?
Because it was enticing. It wasn't human talking to them. It was basically, it was a human talking to them, my daughters, but it was really the seal talking and really captivating and taking them into this environment.
So how many years have you been filming underwater?
Started filming in 91.
91. So how has filming changed since then?
A lot.
A lot?
Technology has changed so massively. So, if I just think...
What did you start with?
So
91.
I started with photography earlier when I actually trained for my first diving training was in the mid-'80s. And I instantly picked up photography because I knew that's what I wanted to do with my diving skills is, capture whale and dolphin behaviors. And the first thing I used underwater was actually a high-8 video camera. And that was very limited SD quality, very grainy, very small level picture. If I use my 8K format that I do with my big red cameras right now, it would be a little tiny box. in there in terms of
Oh,
resolution.
okay.
And I mean, so many tools got added, like high speed. Okay, when I started, if you actually used film, which was massively expensive, you couldn't really afford that.
Right.
As a single entity, you needed a production house if you
Mm.
really filmed with film. So I still did my still pictures with film at the time, so I'm familiar with film, and I helped colleagues, change roles and
Mhm.
help them produce on film. But I was late enough that I started with a video format.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure digital changed everything.
And then the digital revolution. So you moved from tape, and we even had HD cameras, even though they were digital images, they were still recorded on tape. That's how long tape persisted until those really fast internal storage drives or external storage media came up that can actually record at the kind
Yeah.
of speed that was required. And I mean, these days it's phenomenal. Then we are up
Yeah.
there in the air with drones,
Yeah.
getting perspectives of orcas that, if
Yeah.
I wanted to make that orca film 10, 15 years ago, it would have never looked like that. Because so much with orcas moving fast through the environment, you wouldn't be able to get there. And
Yeah.
the drone was able to stay over them. They're completely non-fussed by this little
I love
insect up
them.
there, and you get to see
So
things
fun.
they do that you
Yeah.
never thought orcas did, like food sharing in this really intimate way, or this whole court. We've captured orca courtship that went on for hours that you wouldn't believe how beautiful it looked, like underwater ballet. And you get the whole intimacy that's very emotional creatures and very, very much into each other. Just amazing to see. And you wouldn't think it of an animal that takes down another whale,
Mm.
that skins a seal or sea lion in a flash. And they don't just devour it. They actually food share, sometimes for hours, in a really, it almost looks like ceremonial way. So to see that and to capture that and then share it with an audience it gives you a completely different
Yeah.
perspective of a killer whale.
Yeah. So this next question, this is what I was thinking. This is for myself. So I find water and ocean water, not lake water, very overwhelming and powerful. And so there's always been, until I started watching film, a disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
Just standing on a shore and looking at the water, standing on a ferry, standing on a boat. There's a disconnection because you really can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
That surface phenomenon.
surface. Okay. So the question is this: have you seen a shift in the local community or even the international community from what people feel about the ocean? And is it the reason why we're able to have these laws to help keep it the way that it is, and keep the whales from starving, and keep all these things out here, and keep the coral from dying? Is it because of films?
I think in parts.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give all the credit to films. Films help, and they help inspire people. They help inspire the education community, and then it's largely through educators. I think our children are so much better educated in in a lot of things, but especially when it comes to wildlife and habitats, even around the world, and the critters that live in it. And if I just look at the average knowledge that these children brings in terms of what is a kangaroo,
Yeah.
all these different whales, they
Yeah.
know it, and they know what a marine mammal is, and they're interested in what the habitat is. And then, of course, technology helps too. The internet and having access to all these images and films that are out there massively helps to promote that idea that, we're not alone, and we are part of this planet, and we need this planet.
Right. So I was thinking, you have a global career and you have a local career. So how do you manage those two together and stay grounded here?
So for me, it's really easy to stay grounded here because, I mean, just from where we are right now, we have this beautiful lighthouse behind us, but I'm looking out and I'm basically looking past Fort Eby into the Strait of Juan de Fuca,
Yeah.
open Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So it opens the world for me being here. I think we live in a beautiful place. And, with the likes of orcas and humpback whales and gray whales showing up here, the world, the larger world is actually right here.
Yeah, because I wonder that when people who, like yourself, who have been all over the world, that you choose Whidbey Island. What is it that you're like, you know what, this is where I want to be. I know I've seen all these amazing things and other beautiful, beautiful places. You choose Whidbey Island.
I wouldn't want to change the location. I mean, first of all, what I see is the island is a magnet that attracts people from all jacks of trades, and it's a mixing pot, and I see so much talent around me on this island. I'm speechless about it. I mean, meeting your neighbors around here means meeting so many talented, resourceful people. That's what's captivating me as well. And then around us, we have this amazingly beautiful environment that we share that gives so much inspiration. So that's all the inspiration I need.
Yes. I was telling you earlier, it's one of the reasons I started this podcast, because I just have met so many interesting people. And there's more and more and more. And it's not really like people are hiding in the woods. It's just they've chosen to come out here and then they get to work, to whatever it is that they're out here for.
They're involved and they're engaged. And that's what really makes Sound Water Stewards so attractive to me, is that, there's a lot of different people taking part in this. And we're not political. So it's across the political spectrum. But, what we share is the kindred spirit about the beautiful environment we live in.
So not to get political, but I do have to ask, what was one of the most difficult environmental realities that you've seen while filming that people need to understand?
I've kind of touched on it a little, but it really is the realization that, our influence on the planet is real, and climate change is just one of them. And it's not just some I want people to understand it's not just some word or some concept. It's actually happening. I had like some of these key moments where I was up on this island group, a Norwegian island group up in the high Arctic, Svalbard. Spitsbergen is another name for the group of islands. And it's 80 degrees north, 78, 9, 80. It's right in that bracket. So it's highly Arctic, and it has walrus, it has blue whales, it has polar bears, and it has reindeer. It has a specific type of reindeer. And I was there at different times of the year, but I was also one summer in 2016 when temperatures were over 70. And the ice melted really fast. We started smelling and the smell came from the burial grounds, because in the permafrost, you didn't bury people very deep. But the permafrost was melting, and it created these big flood areas. And I saw the reindeer stand to their shoulders in flood waters. And just to see that picture, it hits home, this is really real. And it has a huge impact, not on all these critters that we study. It has a big impact on us. And to realize that we are living on a really dangerous trajectory, which I want to spread hope. We can turn it around. We have ways to turn that tide too, but we got to take it seriously.
So talking about that message, is there an entity or organization that you would like to partner with that you haven't yet?
The government.
The government.
Yes, there's so much we can do. And around here, one of the biggest things that we can do is care for clean water. And, it's actually in the Clean Water Act that we clean up our stormwater, and we've really been dancing around it, and it bites us in the foot. It ties right back into this southern resident killer whale equation and not getting enough salmon. A lot of our salmon die because of water that comes off all these surfaces, hard surfaces that we've created, especially those that are kissed by tires. That is actually lethal to a lot of the fish, including salmon around here. And for us, it means more than just making river water cleaner by cleaning up our stormwater. It helps our aquifers, the water that we drink ourselves, and it helps the wider Salish Sea to be more healthy. where we take our foods as well. So, all of these toxins are in the foods that we eat, that we harvest from this area. So, farmland as well, we use the river and we spread it on our farmlands. So to clean up stormwater is really the biggest thing we can do in this area. I mean, it's one substance in tires that has been discovered, but it goes beyond that. That's just one thing, and it's specific. Some salmon, die from this at all life stages.
Right.
It's 6 ppds. It's come up in the news. But there's other things on the road surfaces from, the motor oils and gear oils and all those things that are harmful to fish and fish larvae and forage fish and a whole host of other. I mean, it's easy. You wouldn't want to drink motor oil.
No.
And it wouldn't be healthy for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, if that washes into the environment, it's not good for it.
So do you have anything that's coming up? Any projects that you're excited about?
Well, that is one project we're working on, and I can't really make any announcements about it yet, but to really get this problem to the forefront of the attention and to partner with as many partners as we can find, tribes, conservation districts, politicians, to actually really get the dial moving on cleaning stormwater. That's really where I want to throw my energy in, because I know it helps all the things that I'm filming out here too.
So is that how your role is going to evolve in the next 5 years? Or
I imagine so.
You imagine so. So it's time for 10 rapid fire questions.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's see how I do that.
Okay. 35 millimeter film or digital sensor?
Digital sensor.
Digital sensor. Shark or orca? Which is more thrilling to encounter? Orca. Dawn dive or dusk dive?
Night dive.
Night dive. Night dive. All right. Most underrated species in Puget Sound?
Spotted ratfish.
Spotted ratfish. Can you describe that?
It's the highest biomass fish in Puget Sound.
Okay.
And it's one that most people don't know.
Because the rat thing is kind of throwing me.
It's really edgy. You call it a ghost shark. Some areas it's called,
ghost shark.
Call it a ghost shark. It's this deep water fish that is related to sharks and rays.
Right.
So it's a cartilaginous fish. And it comes with this amazing sensory package, this poisonous spine that it can erect when it feels threatened. It has this whip-like rat tail.
Rat tail, that's where it comes from. Okay.
Other cultures call it the catfish, or the sea cat.
Sea cat.
Because it has these, for me to make it visible, I have to throw light on it. It's often in the night dive, so you back to the night dive. Even though in Puget Sound, you can even sometimes, especially in the summer, see them during the day. So they're deep water fish that Puget Sound has this unique quality that it reflects deep water environment high up. It has to do with the upwellings that we get coastally and being a fjord environment, which is really what it is. It's been carved by glaciers.
Right.
And it reflects deep water environments. That's why as a diver, physically, I can actually film deep water things like giant Pacific octopus, like 6-gill sharks, and ratfish.
Okay.
But ratfish at the same time is the biggest biomass fish. So in terms of fish mass, it is the most prolific in Puget Sound. And most people wouldn't even dream that that's true.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that fish. So let's talk about all the stuff you have to pack up. So which is the hardest to pack? All your camera stuff, or?
I would say a rebreather.
Rebreather.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that?
So that's a diving equipment. It's you need a special certificate for it. It's a technical diving where you scrub. So basically, it's like breathing out of a plastic bag, but you scrub the CO2 out of the mix. And you can add all sorts of fancy gases. So you can do really deep dives, but you can dive for a really long time. You can beat your decompression times or reduce them vastly by mixing, blending with more oxygen. There's so many things you can do, but the most important thing is it's stealth, pure.
Okay.
It's completely silent. I make no bubbles. So I have much more ability to meet the critters underwater without scaring them away.
Okay. So when you're underwater, do you prefer silence or ambient sound?
I treasure the silence, but I will say that the underwater environment isn't silent. There's lots of sounds, and I get especially excited when I hear dolphin or killer whale sounds.
Oh, yeah, I bet you do. So scripted documentary or observational footage?
Definitely for me, observational footage, because nature doesn't allow for much scripting.
That's right. We talked about that. So what's your favorite or best meal after a long shoot? Fish?
I thought, it's not. Sometimes you just need to replenish your sugar.
Yeah.
Some of those rebreather dives are really long hours. My longest one was 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
When you come up, you just need something quick and sugary. So a nice brownie or something like that.
Yeah.
And a hot coffee often when it was cold water environment.
Yeah. So land-based research or in-water filming?
In-water filming anytime.
Kind of a dumb question, but anyway, I thought I'd throw it out there. So one word to describe the ocean's future.
The ocean future is our future.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That sounds great. All right, that's it. Thank you so much, Florian. This was such an interesting conversation. I knew it would be.
My pleasure.
And I learned a lot. So thank you so much. And thank you for living here on this island.
Thank you. Likewise. It's interesting, like you said, what all attracts us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really amazing, and that's the thing. We come from so many different angles of where we've worked in society. And yet when you're here on this island, you start meeting at similar points of interest.
That's right.
The island really tends to focus our attention on, I would say the beauty and captivates all of us. Yeah. So we end up wanting the same thing, which that is really beautiful.
Yes, it is. For me, I love to hear stories. I love to hear stories. Even though I come from a technology background, it's like, what can I contribute to Whidbey Island? For me, this is what it is.
Yeah. So a lot of our stewards actually come, especially in this area, from the technology background.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at all. Yeah.
So Florian, you guys have started a new program with Sound Water Stewards. So tell the listener a little bit about it so they'll know how they can participate.
Yes, so our associate membership is something where we really reach out to the community and we want to welcome you all in our midst. In the past, you could only become a member of Sound Water Stewards if you went through our extensive training program and became an active steward. And you had to also, because of that, it's like a 10, 12-week program you have to go through.
Right.
And, you become a naturalist.
Okay.
And we are working on, in the future, to get you a naturalist certificate for that has value. Mm-hmm. But what it means is you also commit to 50 to 100 hours of volunteer time. Okay. And a lot of people just don't have the ability to commit to that for a host of reasons. And we thought, that's actually really exclusive.
Right.
So we really wanted to open up our organization. We do a lot of really important work with so many attractive projects and programs for the community that we thought we should open up our doors and invite associate members to become part of it.
Okay.
So there's, some things you can do in our organization with that. Some you cannot because you need the training for it. It opens up, all our social events, our education tools for the membership web pages. There's so much you can do and mingle with us. And when you then later decide you have the time to become a steward, you already know how that works.
Okay, great. Thanks for that information, because especially someone like me who isn't used to doing any volunteer work in this type of genre at all, that would be very intimidating to go through a program to get certified just to participate.
Well, and as an associate member, you support the organization and all the projects we do, but you come to our Christmas party, you come to our summer picnic, you go on field trips that we offer.
Oh, fun. Mm-hmm.
And you will see what an amazing set of people you're surrounded with.
Great. Thank you so much.
Florian Graner proves that the most powerful tool for conservation might not be a policy paper, but a camera. By blending scientific rigor with cinematic beauty, He invites us to see the waters around Whidbey not just as a resource, but as a living masterpiece worth protecting. Whether through a silver medal winning documentary or a local stewardship initiative, his work reminds us that we are part of this ecosystem, not separate from it. Thank you, Florian, for sharing your lens and your passion, and for everything you are giving Whidbey Island. For our listeners, if you want to experience the magic of orcas, life in black and white, or learn more about Sound Water Stewards, check the links in our show notes. Join us next time as we continue to explore the saltwater lives that shape our island.